what's up? It's Miss Henderson here again. I am a culinary arts teacher at Van Horn High School in Independence, Missouri, and this is my second video to demonstrate a particular recipe that we would have been working on in class, but due to COVID-19, we are distance learning. And so I am here today to talk about yeast. In class, we would have been on a chapter that was all about yeast breads and rolls, and so today I'm going to show you guys how to make some soft pretzels. So, if you've never worked with yeast before, it comes in a little packet like this. And the first step that I'm going to do, I've already got all of my ingredients measured out, so everything has been properly measured and in place for me to just get rolling on this recipe. I've washed my hands, hair's tied back, so everything is in place to have a killer day in the kitchen. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off with 1 cup of warm water. That's going to go into our mixing bowl. Everything is going to get mixed in our KitchenAid mixer, so you can really this is kind of a one-pot wonder, if you will. So the first thing is warm water. Okay, the warm water is going to help to activate our yeast. Okay, this is your yeast. It looks just like little granular balls. Okay, and what we need to remember about yeast is that it is a live organism. Okay, so what yeast does is it feeds on sugar. So we're gonna first put the yeast into our warm water, and then I'm going to use a spatula and mix that until it's all dissolved. We don't want to kill the yeast, so you need to go slow on this step. I just want to get all of that yeast dissolved so I can't see the little granular bits anymore. And the warm water helps that process to go quicker. All right. So now our water is turned from clear to like a soft yellow almost. So I know that all of the bits are gone and the yeast is dissolved. So now that that step is complete, the next step in our recipe, we're going to add some granulated sugar. And the yeast is going to feed on the sugar. So in order for yeast to grow, because remember it is a live organism, it has to feed on something in order to get bigger. So it feeds on our granulated sugar. After the sugar, then comes our salt, just regular table salt. Then we have 1/8 of a cup, or 2 tablespoons of room temperature butter. Okay, so we have our room temp butter. Then we have 1 egg. I've cracked into a separate bowl just so no shells get in there. And then we're going to add half of the flour mixture. So I've already got 3 cups plus a 1/4 cup flour measured out. We're going to put half of this mixture into this mixture. Grab a spoon. That's about half. All right, and on our KitchenAid mixer, we're going to use our dough hook attachment. All of your KitchenAid mixers come with attachments, and your dough hook should be one of those. So we will put this on here, lower down, lock into place, and then get this going. This process takes a little bit of time. What that dough hook will do is bring all of your ingredients together into a loose batter. Then you're going to add the rest of your flour to make a stiff dough. Alright, I'm going to get that flour down the sides of the bowl and into the rest of the mixture. Don't try to rush this process. Okay? All right, continue getting all of your ingredients into the middle because it is a dough hook. It just has that one blade, so you gotta kind of help your batter out. so what I meant by a loose dough or a batter looks something like this right now. See how loose it is? Doesn't take much effort to make it go up the size of the bowl. So at this point, I'm going to continue adding flour, and that dough hook is going to bring it together into the stiff dough that we need. Put it on your lowest setting when you're adding your flour, because remember, it's gonna go everywhere if it's too fast. Just do about a scoop or so at a time. The rest. Alright, I'm going to let this continue to mix until it forms that stiff dough that I was talking about, and when we come back I'm going to show you what that looks like. Alright, so our dough has come together very, very nicely. See, it's all formed one complete ball of dough. And what I have here is a lightly floured surface. Your dough is going to be pretty sticky, okay? So it's going to be a good idea to not only flour the surface, but also put flour on your hands so it makes it easier to work with the dough, okay? So we're going to roll out our dough onto the surface. The dough is pretty easy to work with, so you shouldn't really need a rolling pin or anything like that. Just going to get that all nice and floured so it's easy to work with. Alright, and then what you're going to do once you've got it into a nice uniform dough ball is you're going to cut it in half and make 2 equal portions. Alright, and then from here, we're going to be able to get 8 from each section of dough, 8 pretzels. Okay. So, how we're going to do that. Alright, I kind of like to roll my dough into like a log shape. So I'm going to cut that in half. Roll it back up into our ball. Alright, I'm going to cut that in half. We really just want these to be equal in size so that they all bake at the same time. And then from each of those halves, cut in half one more time. All right, so voila, we have 8 little pieces of dough to make our pretzels. So how we're going to make our pretzels, continue on that floured surface. You're going to roll each of these dough balls into long pencil-like shapes. Stretch it out. Got that gluten in the dough to make it elastic. So it should stretch pretty evenly. Dough is not really wanting to roll very well. Now, I am no expert on making pretzel shapes, so this is going to be an adventure for me as well. Just play around with it until you get what you think looks like a pretzel shape. Nobody's here to judge you, so. All right, I'm gonna show you how to do one of these, and then I will get the rest of these done and ready to set aside to to rise. Now I can't do all that fancy twirling stuff that you see them do when you go to an actual pretzel shop. We're just gonna kind of do our best here. All right, look at that. Not too shabby. Oh, but that's pretty much a pretzel shape. All right, now remember, these are gonna double in size, and that's that yeast. The yeast is now feeding on the sugar we put into our dough mixture, and they're gonna grow and expand and cause our dough to double in size. So I have a cookie sheet here lined with some parchment paper, and I'm gonna get my pretzels onto that sheet tray. All right, one pretzel down. So I'm gonna finish these up, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're done. And then we've got one more step to do before we put them into our oven. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I kind of feel like at this point I have mastered the art of rolling this dough out. And so I wanted to show you real quick. On my second dough ball, I only cut it into 4s instead of 8s. So I'm making the second tray of pretzels double the size that I did of the first one. So that's why this dough is gonna look a little bigger, be able to stretch a little longer. So you wanna stretch your dough, roll your fingers along the dough like this, kind of stretching your fingers out as it goes, and that will help to lengthen your dough to a good size. Use more flour as you need to as you're going. But yeah, it's the stretching of that dough as you're rolling it out that really gets it to that pencil shape we're talking about in the recipe. All right, look at that. All right, and then just bring our dough together, create that pretzel shape, and voila. All right, I'm gonna get this pretzel onto my tray, and I will be right back with you guys in a second. All right, so this is our final step before our pretzels go into our 400 degrees preheated oven. What you're gonna do is you're going to take 3 cups of warm water, and you're going to dissolve 1/3 of a cup of baking soda in that water. And what the baking soda is gonna do is going to create that crispy, crunchy shell on the exterior of our pretzels. Go ahead and get that all dissolved and combined. All right, our pretzels are ready to be dipped. So I'm gonna take one here, submerge it all the way within that baking soda mixture, place it back on my tray, kind of shape it out to the desired look you want. And then while your pretzel is still wet, you're gonna sprinkle on your salt. Now you can do different combinations. You could do some cinnamon sugar waffles. So instead of sprinkling salt on, you would dip them in that kind of a mixture. You could just sprinkle some regular sugar on if you wanted a sweet pretzel. I'm just gonna do all of mine salted. So I've got coarse salt, the kind that you typically see on pretzels. And I'm gonna get that all salted up. All right, so I'm gonna finish up this tray of pretzels that I have, and then I have my little mini pretzels to do, and then I will show you guys what comes next after we finish this step. Be right back. All right, so both trays of pretzels have been soaked in that baking soda and water mixture, and they've been sprinkled with salt. So now what we're gonna do is let them rise. So I'm gonna cover them with a clean kitchen towel, and then you want to put both of these trays in a warm place. Now, since my oven had to be turned on and is preheating to 400 degrees, all I'm simply gonna do is place them on top of the oven, and that will create a warm environment for them to rise in. You're gonna let them rise for 20 minutes. They should, like I said, double in size, and then we will be ready to put them in the oven. So I'll be right back. All right, so our pretzels have been off in a warm, dry place, rising for about 20 minutes now. So I'm gonna go ahead and uncover them. They look great. and they're gonna go into, like I said, a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes. So I will show you guys what they look like when they come out. All right, so I just took our pretzels out of the oven. I wish you guys could smell it in here because it smells like a bake shop. Like, it just smells so good. You can really smell the salt on the pretzels, and so here's what they look like when they come out. These are my bigger pretzels. I'm gonna transfer these from my parchment lined baking sheet to a wire cooling rack so that they have a chance to cool on all sides. I mean, look at those. Cannot wait to dig in. So what you can do when this stuff is done is create a sauce to dip them in. You could do anything. If you did a sweeter pretzel, you could do a chocolate sauce. You could do a fruit sauce, like a really awesome, like raspberry sauce would be great. You could do a cheese sauce with these. You could do like a honey mustard sauce. So feel free to be as creative as possible when it comes to your dipping sauce for these pretzels. But I know me and my family can't wait to dig in. So thank you for joining me today, and can't wait to see you next time. I'll be doing a lesson over cookies, I believe. So catch you guys next time. Thanks for joining.